Guys, welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our macOS development with AppKit tutorial series. And in this particular tutorial we are going to be taking a look at how it is that we can allow the column resizing in a table. Now, oftentimes if there is not enough room in a column to display data, you can not only rearrange the columns if you need to, but you can also resize them to make more room for specific bits of data. And a very good example of where this happens a lot of the time is in Finder, where maybe you need to see the full name of a file, or the full date a file was modified, or something like that. You can resize those columns as needed in order to see the full breadth of the information. All right, so I'm going to show you the property that we can use to do that. Now, again, just like with allowing the reordering of columns, there are delegate methods for this that you can execute additional code as needed. I urge you to again read the documentation on it and kind of experiment with it, because again, it's the best way to learn. So let's go ahead and go back into Xcode. So as it stands right now, the application doesn't look any different or anything like that. We just have an additional property here from last video where we're setting whether or not we want to allow the columns to be reordered. In this case, we have it set to false. But in order to allow or disallow column resizing, we can say table.allows column resizing. Now, we can take a look at the documentation here in the autocomplete. All right. So, as the documentation says, this property is a Boolean property that determines whether or not the user can drag at the splitter point between two columns in the headers to resize them. So we'll say equals true, right? So if it's set to true, then we can resize those columns. If it's set to false, we can't resize the columns. All right, so really that just about covers it for this topic. The thing to remember is that you don't have to implement any delegate methods or anything like that to get this stuff to work. NS Table View has its own default implementations for these, so they work right out of the box with some default behaviors. You only need to provide an implementation for the delegate methods that correspond with these properties if you need to execute additional code when you're doing these actions, like resizing a column, rearranging them, or something like that. If you don't need to execute any additional code, then you don't need to implement the delegate methods. Don't worry about it. Because again, it goes and does its own default behaviors if you don't implement those methods. All right, so that pretty much does it for this video, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.